Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a countdown of 8 dramatic class changes that will transform the landscape of PvP in patch 7.1.5. To read through a full list of all the class changes coming in the patch, check out the official patch notes linked in the description. Number 8. Hunter Traps. To start, both Marksman and Beast Mastery are rumored to be getting traps back. Both specs have been largely absent in 3 so far, so it'll be interesting to see if that changes. To add extra trap flavor to survival, there's a new passive ability called Waylay. After 2 seconds, your traps become fully armed, making them especially devastating. So for Freezing Trap, that means it will not break due to damage for the first 4 seconds. Tar Trap will reduce enemies' movement speed by 70% for the first 4 seconds. Explosive Trap will stagger the target, causing them to miss their next melee attack. And Steel Trap deals 500% increased damage if triggered by an enemy that's not in combat. They also get access to a talent that buffs Waylay, making the durations longer. So Freezing Trap not breaking due to damage will go up to 6 seconds. It's essentially a 6-second stun that does not DR stuns if you have a Waylay spec Survival Hunter tossing those out every 30 seconds, I might add. The intent here is to reward players that can predict enemy movement, but in reality this rewards missing traps, and it makes eating them for your teammates really dangerous. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Number 7. Affliction Lock honor talents are getting a big shakeup. They've had 3 honor talents swapped out for brand new ones. Soul Swap becomes Curse of Shadows, which is a 30-second cooldown that causes magic dots to strike the target an additional time for 30% of their damage as shadow over 10 seconds. Soul Siphon is becoming Death's Embrace, which passively causes Corruption, UA, and Agony to deal an additional 100% damage on targets that are at or below 30% health, so not an execute, but very close. And finally, their Soul Burn talent is becoming Soul Shatter, which is a 1-minute cooldown that consumes all of your dots on the nearest 5 enemies to deal 10% of their total health and shatter damage. You will also gain Soul Shards and Haste for 8 seconds after doing so. I'm personally not familiar enough with how locks work now to know whether or not this is a net buff or nerf for them, but we will see. Number 6. Feral Druids are also getting a batch of new honor talents. Leader of the Pack is being replaced by Thorns, which deals damage to attackers and slows them. Primal Vitality is being replaced with Maloran Swiftness, which increases travel form speed by 20% and prevents you from being slowed below 100% movement speed. Fury Swipes is being replaced with Earthen Grasp, which makes your entangling roots no longer dispellable, but on a 10-second cooldown. Those roots also reduce the target's chance to hit by 80%, so that's a big new peeling mechanic. Finally, Shape Mender is gone and replaced by Tooth and Claw, which improves maximum health and damage done while in bear form. These seem largely like utility changes, which are going to be important for both surviving and peeling melee off your healer. Number 5. Arms Warriors are also getting 3 new honor talents. Duel is a new 25-second cooldown that challenges the target to a duel. While challenged, all damage that you and the target deal to targets other than each other is reduced by 50%. That lasts for 8 seconds. War Banner is a new 1.5-minute cooldown that throws down a war banner at your feet, rallying your allies. It increases movement speed by 30% and reduces the duration of all incoming CC by 50% to allies near your banner. That lasts for 15 seconds. Last, they get Storm of Destruction, which reduces the cooldown of Ravager or Bladestorm by 50%, and either one of those abilities now also applies Mortal Wound to all targets that you hit. So Wrecking Crew, Intercept, and Echo Slam are all gone to make room for those 3 new talents. Additionally, the Sharpened Blade cooldown has been reduced from 45 seconds down to 25 seconds, which means that Arms Warriors basically get a 70% Mortal Strike twice a minute. On top of that, Hamstring will also hit much harder. It is being buffed from 5% physical damage to 105% physical damage. All of this adds up to give Arms Warriors some extra buttons to press so they're not just mindlessly doing damage, which sounds like it's going to make them pretty fun to play. Number 4. We're seeing some pretty big rogue adjustments. First, Assassination Rogues are getting blind back. Second, Shroud of Concealment comes back for all specs, although with how Demon Hunter heavy the new meta might be, that may not be worth much. Third, the Cheat Death cooldown is being raised to 6 minutes, up from 2. The justification for that change was explained as having Cheat Death being too strong relative to other abilities like Reincarnation and Rebirth, although notably neither of those other 2 things can be used in PvP. Number 3. Resto Shaman honor talent changes. The Spirit Link talent, so not Spirit Link Totem but the talent, has a reduced mana cost and no cooldown now. It's on the same tier as Earthshield, which is now getting a new 5-second cooldown up from none, but Earthshield will no longer be dispellable. Third, Calming Waters is now on the same tier as Defender of the Weak and Vim and Vigor. That's overall not bad compared to the 12-second Earthshield cooldown that we saw in the PTR, but we'll see if it's enough to heal through the damage buffs that most DPS specs are getting. Number 2. Generally speaking, most DPS specs, particularly melee and warlocks, are seeing 10 to 30% just flat damage buffs across the board, while healing specs are staying the same or seeing minor nerfs. That means that healing is going to be even more challenging after the patch than it already is. Games are already really short and unforgiving to heal, and that is only going to get worse. It's going to be very hard to find healers, particularly for pugs, which hurts participation even more. With these changes going into effect, it is extremely hard to recommend that anybody new try to get into arena healing, because you're just gonna get murdered, or your friends are gonna get murdered, and without perfect gameplay, there's not a lot that you're gonna be able to do. Finally, the number one most WTF PvP change in the 7.1.5 patch notes, artifact traits at 35 points and above are now enabled in PvP. Well, butts. So basically, that means that if you have been running Maw of Souls Mythic Plus this whole time and you have 54 traits in your artifact weapon, you're going to be doing 15% more damage or healing than somebody who stopped at 34 traits because that final trait was not enabled. This means that PvPers that want to continue to do PvP are going to need to do huge artifact grinds in order to keep up with the people that had already done it, and it's an even bigger barrier to entry to people that have freshly leveled a tune and want to get into PvP. This is pretty much the death of any alt or off-specking that anybody might have wanted to do in PvP, considering that you're going to need millions of artifact power dumped into your weapon just to be competitive. I can't for the life of me figure out the logic behind this change. There's a lot of problems with PvP right now, and adding another huge grind to it doesn't really fix any of them. Maybe there's something that I haven't thought about, and this is just going to magically increase PvP participation. The arena ladder is just going to be flooded with fresh new faces, but I really, really doubt it. So those are some of the biggest PvP changes coming in tomorrow's patch. All of it and the rest of the changes from the patch notes are subject to hotfixes in the coming weeks, so we'll see how much of this sticks. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.